Brittany Deigh. I am a psychic medium and spiritual teacher. My divine purpose is to assist in the expansion of the collective consciousness and to help you become more connected with the divine. This is a space to remember all that you truly are and ignite the possibilities of your highest potential. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Addicted Household Recovery. So this story has really been on my heart for about a month now, even further than that, but really like up in my grill for about a month now. And I'm just trusting that for some reason it's really important to share. And I also think that this will create a greater understanding as to why I am the person that I am. Also, just want to let you guys know that Marley's in here with me recording. That's my cat in here with me while I'm recording today. So if you hear any meows or any craziness, it's Mr. Marley. Okay. So basically, I was thinking about like, how did I get to the level of emotional mastery that I've attained in this life? Like, how did I get here where I'm really good at regulating my nervous system, really good at conscious communication, being able to recognize and discern and all these different things. Like how did I get, and I know that a lot of my discernment was a practice, in my life whenever I was living on the road, when I took off, when I was 19 years old, I took off, to go travel and every single place that I went, every decision that I made, every restaurant that I ate at, every turn that I made, everything was discerning. Should we go this way? Should we go this way? Should we go this route? Should we go that route? Should we go to this place? Should we go to this place? And it was just a really practicing and embodying that discernment really deeply. But prior to that, that to me was more of the like embodiment and living it in real time. I feel like in my childhood and in my upbringing, living in addiction is where I really got super intuitive and I got very spiritually connected. And I also was, kind of forced to deepen this level of emotional development and emotional mastery. And I'm also a Libra, so there's a lot of like balance there. Um, but this one story I feel like kind of gives a really good idea of what I mean whenever I say this. So my brother was in prison for 5 years. And he was originally just in a regular security prison. And it was like he got passed to a few different, just like normal security prisons. He would act out and then he would get, you know, transferred to another one and then act out and get transferred to another one. And then eventually they just put him in a maximum security prison. And it was all the way like 4 hours out into the woods. It was very secluded. And I didn't live in Kentucky at the time. I was traveling. I lived in California actually. And whenever I would come home to visit in Kentucky, my mom would schedule a visit for us to go visit my brother up at this prison. And, my mom is really the only one that would go visit him, to be honest. None of my family members felt comfortable going out to the prison. And so, and this is not jail, guys. Jail and prison is very different. So just to be clear on that, there's a reason why there's two different types of facilities. And this was also maximum security. So, I went to go visit him again and again, and it was always really weird to go to a prison and to see my brother in these shackles and these chains and this orange jumpsuit. And it was just really really disorienting place to even be in. And to be honest, even as a visitor in a maximum security prison, they treat you like a prisoner. Like you have to, take everything out of your pockets. They have to scan you down. They have to search you. They line you up against the wall before you get to go in. All the doors are like the buzzers are like, "Nyeh," and then they like walk through the door. And then like, it's just, and the guards literally treat you like a prisoner. Like they treat you like you're less than because you have a loved one that's to them less than. That's a criminal. And so just going there was really just would wreck my nervous system every single time that I went. It was just horrible and something to recover from every single time. Um, and I would go because I knew that it was the only breath of air really that my brother would get. And especially like my mom would go up there all the time, but when I came, it was like this really special thing, because I didn't live around anymore. And so it would be like something new for him to experience. And when you're having this monotonous, every single day is the same exact thing, to even see a new face is a really, really big deal. It's huge. And I remember my mom started giving him money. Like she always gave him money and, paid for his calls and different things to be able to connect with people and to reach out to her. But um she I really don't even want to get into, I don't understand, but she started giving him like a lot of money, like $700 a month. I have no idea why someone in jail would need $700 a month, but it was really quickly after that that he started using again. And, of course, when you have that kind of money and, you're gambling and all different kinds of things, it's easy to get drugs in and to you. And I didn't know, I knew that my mom was giving him the money from, this house and the rent from this house, and I knew all that was happening, but I was very removed from this the story. I just came in like twice a year, and so I came in to visit, and my brother had said stuff to me over the phone about like, "Yeah, man, you gotta," because I lived in Cali, "You gotta bring some ganj and this, and that. I can sell it for way more in here and this, and that." And I didn't really shut down the conversation, which is where I lacked boundaries, but I didn't really feed it. I was just kind of like, yeah, yeah, like, you know, yeah, it's crazy that, he was saying that he can get like this much for it and all on the prison phone. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy, like, holy shit. But like, I didn't say, Dan, do not speak about this. I do not want to talk about this, and that's where I lacked boundaries. And so I went to visit him and we sat down, and they take the shackles off when you get at the table. And he slips me a note, and he slides it right underneath my hand. And mind you, in a maximum security prison, you're not allowed to touch. You're not allowed to touch at all. You get to give them one hug when you walk in and one hug when you leave, but you're not even allowed to touch, or actually, I don't even think you're allowed to do that. You're not allowed to touch at all, because I remember me and my brother, there's this photo spot where you take pictures. Me and my brother put our backs back to back and we crossed our arms, and this was a different visit, but the security guards railed us. Like, we almost got kicked out, and my brother almost got, like, put in, like the whatever it's called, where they put you in the jail cell by yourself, at the bottom, the maximum security one, the hole. He almost got put in the hole because our shoulders in the photo, I don't even think they were actually touching, but in the photo, they looked like they were touching because they were overlapping. Mine was in front of his, and he almost went to the hole. We almost got kicked out. Like, it was this whole ordeal. So I don't think that you could hug at all. We weren't able to hug my brother for 5 years. And he slipped me a note underneath my hand and touched my hand, and there was a little white piece of paper. And my entire nervous system, I mean, I'm already on full guard in this place, right? And this is, like, illegal. Like, I could go to jail in that moment. If any guard would have seen that, they would have considered me conspiracy, and I would have gone to jail easily. Easily. So fucking easily. And, obviously, my brother would go in the hole and probably get beaten, but it I literally I was having a panic attack inside of my body without being able to express it at all outside of my body. Because even if they would have picked up on my nervousness, even if they would have picked up on me sweating or panicking, then they would have searched me, they would have found the note, and I would have went to jail. And so I had to have a full-blown panic attack inside of my body without ever letting my chest puff up, letting a drop of sweat move down my face, or my facial expression shift or move at all. And I had to regulate my entire system enough to be able to get up, to be able to ask to go to the bathroom. And then, of course, a guard escorts you to the bathroom. And the bathroom is the only place that there's not video cameras. So immediately when I get in the bathroom, I open the note and it says something about there's something behind the toilet and this, and that. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I just throw the note down the toilet. I flush the toilet and I gather myself. I finish my panic attack. I can finally breathe and express myself a little bit before I got to gather myself, not take too long, right? Because then that's suspicious. And there's something behind the fucking toilet. So it's like now I definitely know that, like, because then they'll search the fucking toilet, they'll search the bathroom. And then I'm really fucked. And I wash my hands and I go out to the table and pretend like nothing happened. Just literally pretend like absolutely nothing happened. And the level of mastery that you have to learn on the spot in order to regulate your nervous system, in order to regulate your emotions, in order to regulate yourself and have an internal experience without overflowing and pouring it everywhere else and actually move through the feelings, right? Like not I mean, I suppressed a lot of them and expressed it later. I was so angry on the drive home. I was so angry, but I didn't know how to tell my mom because then she would just be upset with him and I remember when I got out of the car, it was a 4-hour drive home after that. I got out of the car and I got back to my partner who I was with at the time and I told her about it and I cried for like 4 hours. Like, it was the most insane release to feel like I was finally back in a safe place where I could let this, express this and get this out of my being. Because you guys have to understand, like, I'm at this point, I'm on a conscious journey. Like, I'm on a healing journey. I'm consciously manifesting. I'm meditating. I'm on a healing journey. I'm being intentional with my life. I'm being intuitive. I'm moving with the universe. I mean, it's like I was just it was so traumatizing and it's such a memorable story because when I have these moments like I am right now in life where I'm like, Brittany, how did we get to this level of emotional maturity? Because it's really hard. It's really isolating. To be totally honest, it's really isolating to be at the level of emotional maturity that I am because there's not many people that have been in a maximum security prison where somebody fucking slips them a note with no consent and they have to regulate like there's not many people that have had to learn the level of emotional development that I have in order to survive. And I'm sure a lot of you guys feel me whenever I say that? And so it makes it really isolating to be where I am consciously, emotionally, it's like it's so hard to connect with people because they just don't have the level of emotional maturity that I need in order to feel deeply connected. And I'm really learning to just accept that that's just the nature of this illness, is that you just experience a lot of loneliness, and it doesn't make the people around me bad for being emotionally immature. They're probably like, to me, it's emotional immaturity, right? But they're like at a regular kind of even kill normal, if there was a normal level of mature emotional maturity for this earth journey. Like, this is part of the illness. This is part of growing up in the abuse that I did and having to survive and doing what you need to do to survive, and I'm really grateful because now I can share these things with the world and I can show people what the experience of emotional maturity is, and what it means to regulate your nervous system, and what it means to, experience your feelings and not let them outburst, but also experience them in their entirety, and, projecting and all these things. I'm really skilled at because of these experiences, but the reality is that it's really lonely sometimes because I just really wanna connect really deeply and on a deep emotional plane, but I also would never wish these experiences on anybody else. So, I don't actually want, you know I don't want people to experience this so that way I can have more people, to connect with deeply. I can handle it, I can take it, but it's definitely lonely sometimes, and I'm sure that you guys feel me on that. I'm sure there's a lot of you that were forced to grow up, in this illness. There's a lot of you that were forced to grow up really fast and learn skills that you just really didn't actually need to at that age. But it was part of your journey. So, and I know that I recognize now there was a lot of times in that moment, I could have easily been like, "Whoa, dude, what the fuck is that?" And that's what I was saying to myself inside, but I didn't want to betray my brother. I didn't want him to end up in the hole, and I didn't want my mom to get upset. Like, who knows? He could have lost visitations. Like, he could have, but at the same time, like, that's not my responsibility. Like, that's his choice, you know? And I did this my whole life, is like all these times where he would create a circumstance where he would lose his own privileges and I would save, right? And I would hide and I would cover it up so that way he didn't actually lose those privileges. And then I'm the one walking around dealing with all of the trauma and the shame, and what came of that. And so I'm really grateful to have this space, because the reality is that, like, this is the place where I'm sharing these stories. These people don't want to hear these stories, and that's okay. I've come to acceptance with that. I obviously, desire and wish to share with them the way these stories, these things that have happened that really affected me as a person and really made me who I am. It's kind of like, I don't want to say, like, guys, I'm emotionally mature. I'm the way that I am because all of the shit, but it's also like, that's also the reality of the situation. And I think too, who I am as a soul has a lot to do with who I am today. But as far as navigating this human experience, growing up in addiction and experiencing the things like what I just told you has a lot to do with why I am the way that I am, and why I have the maturity that I do and the mastery that I do. And I'm just grateful now to be able to share it with the world. Like, if that's something that I can do with it, that, you know, get not only gets it out of me, but also can help somebody else in their own journey to mastery and self-development and emotional, development. Awesome. Freaking awesome. So, yeah, I hope that this story is helpful to you in some way, and just know that if you ever feel really lonely because you were forced to grow up really fast, I feel you. You're not alone. And there's probably a lot of us out here, we're just not speaking up. And so that's what this space is for. It's to feel a little less alone. Somebody speaking up, somebody telling their stories, and giving you full permission to do the same. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed that episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and if this was impactful for you at all, please share it with others. This is how we can help each other. Much love and namaste.